Lowe Post Hoop Collective Finals crossover from the parquet, Brian Windhorst.
This is a special place for you because you spent so much time over the years writing about the corner three.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the corner. You've written a lot about this corner over the years.
Yeah, I have. And the Celtics made a lot of threes.
They did.
And that was
not just from here either.
Huh?
Not just from here.
No, from everywhere. Taking game one by a lot. They went up by a lot early, got dicey for a little bit in the third quarter. Then they hit a lot more threes, and the game really can be boiled down to, before garbage time, 16 of 41 from three, both makes and attempts, monster numbers for the Celtics against the Dallas team that has a really bad choice to make of protect the paint or allow open threes. They really did neither in this game, particularly in the third quarter, 14-0 run that blew the game back open. And Dallas was 5 of 24, 16 of 41, 5 of 24. And it has to start with Porzingis. Any analysis of the game has to start with him. Monster first half, posting up switches. The Mavs switched a lot. He posted up switches, made some tough shots. Made a trail three, made a three in Luka Doncic's face. Blocked shots. There was the sequence when he made a trail three, blocked Kyrie Irving. Sam Hauser hit a three, and the place was going bonkers. What a return for KP against his former team. And I think you felt like just how different the floor is, how much more open it is for Boston.
Yeah, I don't know who made the decision to bring him off the bench. I'm sure they had a lot of conversations about that. I'm sure there was like strategies and meetings. But however that got decided, boy, did it work. Because I was, first off, the Celtics come out on the floor for pregame warm-ups, and no KP, no Porzingis. And, like, not like 30 seconds later, like 6 minutes later, he comes out. So you're like, wait a minute, is he actually playing, or what's that story? Like, who knows? He's probably getting some last-minute treatment or whatever, And then he comes out, and you're like, wait, this guy's kind of weird. The crowd went crazy. It was crazy out here. But that decision to bring him off the bench, and when they brought him off the bench, it was like perfect. Like it worked out perfect. I don't think they could have dreamed what kind of an impact he would make and the way he came in and did it.
And I think, you just felt the impact of his extra bit of shooting against Dallas and over again. And really in that third quarter run, it was 72-64, then Boston went on a 14-0 run. They would run a Tatum Porzingis pick and roll or a Brown Porzingis pick and roll, and they were switching those plays because they're just afraid of Porzingis pick and pop threes. And Porzingis had established himself as like, I can score in the post. Those buckets kind of went away in the second half because they were tough shots. I think Dallas was happy with those shots. But the other end of that switch is Tatum or Brown attacking a big man, Lively, Gafford, whoever, or when they started hunting Luka too, which was a big part of the Celtics game plan. We're going to make you work much more than the Wolves did. I know that was one of emphasis. And they would drive, and you can't let them beat you at the point of attack and load up into the paint as aggressively as the Mavs were, because it's just too easy for Boston, and the looks were too easy. They got threes, they got drives, they got offensive rebounds, and a lot of that was Porzingis' spacing and the fact that the Mavs decided we're switching against you because we're scared, and the Celtics exploited that switch on both ends. When the game, again, 107-89 was the final, but when they took out everybody, Boston's offensive rating was almost 120, according to Cleaning the Glass, which is elite. They just played really well. Dallas defense didn't really get settled.
Yeah, I sort of think that there were sort of two factors in the game. Obviously, Porzingis individually, but as a team, Celtics make 7 threes in the first quarter. I know they're a high-volume team, but that even by their standards, that's wild. They take 15 threes in the first quarter. Again, very high-volume three-point shooting team. Even by their standards, that's wild. So that early three-point shooting, of which Porzingis played a role in, gives them a cushion. Then the rest of their game, because they really didn't shoot the three-pointer that well after the first quarter. They were just sort of average to below average after the first quarter. Then the rest of the game was about in my view, was about their defensive strategy, which is that they really played Luka straight up. They were very comfortable in switching. They had no problems having Al Horford switch on to him. They dealt with it.
I mean, Al had some problems here and there, but for the most part, the damage was not severe.
Right, but they were not afraid of that. They were totally comfortable having any of the money on the court, dealing with Luka, As a result, he didn't have the space. There was a few times where they brought an extra body to help, but they did not do any doubling, which was not a surprise. We knew they wouldn't. And as a result, Luka was not able to get the ball as easily and freely to his shooters. And he has 1 assist. And not only that, I'm not even going to focus so much on the 1 assist as much as I want to point out that he only generated 6 assist chances.
Wow.
So his teammates are 1 of 6 off his passes, only 6 assist chances. And that obviously they'll do better in that, obviously, going forward. That's the Celtics game plan. That's their ability to trust their 5 guys out in the court. And, the reason they went on that 14-0 run to take back control of the game was because they stopped Dallas from scoring. Dallas didn't score, obviously, at 14-0, but Dallas just didn't score for like 5 minutes after that. They tightened up their defense, and Luka wasn't able to make an impact.
And to your point, Boston tried a lot of different things against Luka. They switched, as you mentioned, with Al. Or let's see how he lives with that. Will help a little bit off Derek Jones Jr. if he's on the floor. They dropped a few times, just like the Wolves did. Sometimes they kind of had a higher drop. Sometimes they went up to the level of the screen with their big men, which is not quite a blitz, but close. And like we'll figure it out from there. But sometimes they would see Porzingis' guy or Horford's guy coming up to set a screen for Luka, and another Boston defender would yank Porzingis out of the play halfway up, and so they could switch it. So they did a lot of stuff, but the one thing they didn't do, except I think one time, was blitz. And that's core to Boston's philosophy, I think, in this series, is come hell or high water, we are not blitzing.
Do you know the numbers that they had coming into this game on the double team, the blitz, whatever you want to call it?
Luka versus the blitz or Boston?
No, Boston for the whole season.
I mean, I know that they were like the second fewest double teams or blitzes in the whole league, I think.
So I don't remember the exact number. It was something like 963 screens that they faced this season. They doubled blitz, whatever you want to call it, 11 times. 11 times.
Which is interesting because the whole debate in the Minnesota-Dallas series was Minnesota needs to blitz, Minnesota needs to blitz, Minnesota needs to blitz. And the Celtics clearly do not agree with that. And I think the reason they don't agree with it is we're just not going to make it easy for him, and we're not going to make it easy for his teammates to get involved. They just don't want to do it, and today it was totally fine, partly because Kyrie was 6 of 19, which we should probably talk about that.
Yeah, Kyrie did not have an impactful game. I don't think the environment here, well, we'll see what he says. He hasn't talked yet, but I don't think it was like he felt intimidated by the environment. I didn't feel that at all. I just feel like he had a lot of shots that were, by his standards, normal that just missed. Like, he kept throwing up his left-handed shot, and they just kept missing.
Missed a wide-open pick-and-roll 3 when they dropped back on him. Dallas missed, just off the top of my head, Luka missed a 3 on an out-of-bounds play where they totally lost him. Washington missed a corner 3 on an out-of-bounds play where he just wasn't paying attention and they inbounded. Boston wasn't paying attention. They inbounded it to P.J. Washington. Luka missed an open 3, a decent 3 over Peyton Pritchard on a switch. Like, Dallas missed some good looks, which always happens, but some of those will go in. Boston may not make it. Like, game 2 is obviously going to be a war. Dallas is going to come out like throwing every punch, but that's game 2.
Yeah, I felt if Boston can keep this, Luka's good. Luka's never had this few assists in his career in a game where he's played 35 minutes. Okay.
The 6 assist chances that you just dropped blew my mind.
That was a stunning number. They just didn't even generate chances. That is clearly going to be Boston's game plan. So the issue now is going to be, what's Dallas going to do about it? Is Luka going to turn up the heat and try to force the action a little bit? Are they going to try some different actions? I'm sure they'll try some different actions. But were there any lobs tonight?
Well, that's what we should talk about because 2 things happened. Number 1, as all of us predicted would happen, the Celtics put Tatum on Gafford and Lively and put Porzingis on Derek Jones Jr., sometimes P.J. Washington, with the directive of if you're going to run pick and rolls with Lively and Gafford, we're just going to switch so you're not going to get the lob. And if you want to hunt our big men, you got to use another screener. And if that guy rolls, he's rolling into Lively, Tatum, Luka's guy. Everybody's going to be there. There's going to be too much traffic. And the other thing was whether Porzingis was on the screener, and every time Dallas got the cross match of a Boston center on their centers, they went right to the Luka Gafford, Luka Lively two-man game. That's their bread and butter. We got the big man in it, we're going to go for it. Or whether Porzingis was on the back line, you felt his impact in the paint playing two. Like there was a possession in the first quarter where Luka ran a pick and roll. I can't remember if they dropped whatever they did, but Porzingis was on Derrick Jones Jr., rolled to the rim. Luka played with the ball in the middle of the floor, slipped a pass to Derrick Jones Jr., and Porzingis, playing in between them, got back to the rim, and Derrick Jones Jr. missed like a really hard up and under. Like you felt 7-3, who's walking by us right now. You felt 7-3 versus
Average performance.
Not bad. Versus 6'10" or whatever Al Horford is. Like you felt it, Luka felt it, it felt different.
Well, let me just say, when you are sitting and a guy 7'3" walks past you, it's a long way up there.
That's true.
That's all I'm going to say.
But yeah, the lobs just were not there. There was another one where Jaylen Brown retreated. Jaylen Brown broke it up from behind, like on Lively, I think. Lively.
How do you remember all these possessions?
Because
like
I'm looking at my notes. Look at my crazy notes.
But I mean, I understand that, but it was a 30. It was a 29. You're talking about possessions when the game was like 27 points.
Well, look, I'm focused. I'm
you're
laser
savant?
focused. I'm
You're a
laser
savant?
focused. No, I'm not a savant. I have to take detailed notes because I'm such not a savant. I need to remember them.
I think there's some savant action going on there. Like I'm like, really? You're talking about something in the second quarter? The second quarter, I zoned out for about 6 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about?
I don't know.
I saw
but
you
like,
eating Skittles back there. Was
I had some
Skittles get to your brain?
No,
Skittles
I was just like, meh. And then in the third quarter, I rejoined the action. You know, because there was a nice run. That actually run, I think Dallas will try to build some stuff off of that. They were able to get a little bit more diversity in their offense, and that's what they're going to need. They're going to need diversity in their offense, which is obvious when you look at the way this team goes. But the number that it was just, and if you listen to any of the Hoop Collective, I freaked out about it. Talked about it on TV all day today. Luka's teammates shooting 57% off his passes. It's a jaw-dropping number. It's an unsurvivable number for the opposition. The Celtics had to address it. They obviously are a good defensive team. They weren't going to allow that. 1 of 6. But in that spot, they were able to get a little bit more diversity of their offense. The ball moved a little bit better. Not from Luka. They were able to generate some shots. And I'm sure they will try to build on that third quarter run.
Luka played pretty well. Like the Celtics didn't give him a lot of the matchups that he wanted. Like I think he got Derek White on him just a couple times, and once he bullied him in the post like you knew he would and drew a foul. But that third quarter run when it was 72-64 to 86-64, I'm going to go back and watch that tomorrow. But in real time, that felt really problematic for Dallas. Like Boston's offense felt way too easy. Tatum and Brown were able to get whatever matchup they wanted, which was either a center or Luka. Maybe they just have to be better about not switching Luka onto those guys. And they were able to drive, and the help was just too extreme off 4 really awesome shooters, and the kickouts were too easy. And even Kleba, whose minutes we should talk about, he couldn't keep those guys in front of him. Like that was I'll watch it again tomorrow, but I watched that run, and I was like, man, I'm surprised how easy this seems for the Celtics offense right now.
Well, when they made their comeback, they slowed the game down, Dallas. They slowed the game. It's easier to slow the game down when you're making the other team take balls out of the basket, but they slowed the game down. When the game was higher tempo in the first half, it didn't favor Dallas at all. They were not getting back and finding all the Boston shooters. Most of those three-pointers, maybe not most, a lot of those three-pointers were transition baskets. So I think that Dallas had more success when they slowed the game down. And, I'd have to go watch it again, but I feel like that was actually something that they should look at, because then you get Luka going into his Luka stuff, and you have more of a chance.
They just also need other guys to, like P.J. Washington missed all his threes. Josh Green, I kind of don't remember anything that Josh Green did in the game.
I remember something he did. He had a rush of blood to his head in the first quarter and tried like some crazy dunk from like the dotted line with Porzingis like hunting him. It was like, it was a.
Porzingis.
I thought, do you think you're Michael Jordan? What was that about? That was
How
sort
about
of
Jaylen
summed up.
Brown's rim protection, too? Jaylen Brown's getting up there for, like, those look like center block shots. Not like chase downs. He's, like, at the rim just swatting shots away.
And like coming across the lane to do it. I mean, he had a high quality defensive game. I think just in general, the Celtics are going to grade out very well defensively, and I'll bet only the coaching staff would know, but I'll bet their game plan discipline scores very, very high points because of how they were able to control Luka, keep Luka in front of them, and stick to the other players.
The Kleba thing, the reason we should at least mention it is someone asked me before the series, we'll know the Celtics are in a panic mode when they start blitzing Luka, if they ever start blitzing Luka. What's the equivalent for Dallas? What's the thing that they will do that will say, they're pivoting away from what they want to do? And I couldn't really think of a good answer because they're kind of a steady team. They can do a lot of things pretty well. But the only thing that came up in my mind was if we see Kleba at center a lot, no Lively, no Gafford, I'm not going to think that's a panic move because it's a look that's been good for them in the past. And with PJ Washington, they can kind of play a little bigger even with Kleba at the 5. But it's not how they got here. They got here with those two big guys, Duncan protecting the rim, getting offensive rebounds. They got a few tonight, but not that many. Part of it was Lively was in foul trouble, but they went to Kleba at the 5 fast. Didn't really work all that well, and I'm not sure they can like out perimeter Boston. So it was just interesting to me how quickly they went there.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kleba doesn't get a lot of minutes unless they need him. You know, one of the things you see in series, the rotation gets shorter. You know, they had some success without Kleba. You know, Kleba became more important in the last series because the injury. Why am I blanking? The injury to Lively.
Lively, the head injury.
They needed him a little bit more, but before that, they were getting along just fine without Maxi Kleba. He is a guy who can stretch the floor, and he can defend multiple different positions because he can play 4 or 5. But if Kleba minutes don't go well, that's an easy cut.
We saw Tim Hardaway Jr. get back in the rotation. Boston was anticipating that. I know that because they think Dallas is going to need to overcorrect on shooting. Didn't really work out. Just look at Boston's stat sheet, like 10 points for Horford, 22 points for Jaylen Brown.
How many different guys made 2 threes for Boston? At least 2 threes.
Tatum, Horford, Holiday, White, Brown, Hauser, Porzingis, 7 guys.
Come on, that's the Boston formula right there. 7 guys make multiple threes. You're not beating them.
No one had more than 22 points. Like, it was a very evenly distributed scoring game.
You know, what Tatum was 15. What was Tatum's stats?
Tatum was 16 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 turnovers, 6 of 16 from the floor.
He had a quality game.
Yeah, he would like.
Well, that's the thing. People look at Tatum's stats and they try to like focus on it. Okay, the 6 turnovers. If you're a Boston fan, you're just gonna have to breathe through the Tatum and Brown turnovers. I've seen so many turnovers in this building between those guys the last 5 years. I don't even know what to say. But Tatum came out with a rebounding mindset, which is important because he's defending the bigs. He came out looking to rebound, and he came out looking to pass. And we was setting up his teammates for some of those threes, and he was leading that. Part of the reason why they were able to get out in the break was because he was rebounding so well. He was rebounding and then outlet passing. I think he had a very effective, especially first quarter, even though nobody would know it by looking at his scoring.
Just looking at the numbers, neither team really got any traction in all the supplementary categories. Low turnover game, 11 for Dallas, 12 for Boston. 10 offensive rebounds for each team. That's not really much at all. 12 made free throws for Dallas, 13 made free throws for Boston. All of those being even, and some of that was baked into the series. Like, these are low turnover offenses who don't force turnovers on defense, all that. All of those being even, like if Dallas can't scrounge out an advantage somewhere in there, particularly offensive rebounding, if they're going to put wings, Boston, on the Dallas centers, that feels like advantage Boston. If it just becomes like who shoots better and more threes, you know.
Yes, but isn't that the way a lot of Boston games go? You know, I mean, I don't know what. So they were 7 of 15 in the first quarter on threes, and they were 16 of 41.
Still 11 of 27. I'm sorry, 9 of 27. So not 33%.
Yeah. So like after that's not. That first quarter they were just white hot. Porzingis was out of his body. Like I think Dallas can look at that and say, let's prevent that from happening again and feel okay about their chances of giving themselves a better opportunity in game 2.
I did think it was interesting, apropos of like nothing, that the first Dallas possession of the game, they posted up Daniel Gafford on Tatum. No, obviously anticipating that would be the matchup. Like, let's just see what happens when we dump the ball to Daniel Gafford, who never gets post up. They got a Derrick Jones Jr. 3 out of it. It was two teams like looking at each other face to face and be like, yeah, we know you're going to do that. We're going to try this. Let's see how it goes.
I will say this, as long as you're going to talk about the very early stages of the game, I think Dallas started the game out like 5 of 6, and they were up by like 1 or 2 points because Boston had taken like 9 threes already and made like 3 of them. Because they were getting, Dallas had a couple of early turnovers, like Luka dropped the ball out of bounds or whatever. That was indicative of the way it was going to go. That even though Dallas was playing well, the 3-point volume was so high that Boston was able to withstand it, and then it started to snowball.
A couple of pick sixes on Luka in this game. Jaylen Brown got one. Derek White got him from behind.
Kyrie threw a pass 45-degree angle, diagonal backwards at one point. Just not everything went great for them in that first half.
Hauser's minutes were good for Boston.
Hauser made a 3-pointer where the ball came in at his shoulders and he like redirected it like it was a touch pass and it went in. I was like, oh my God.
Do you want to try to recreate that after we're done? Like you can
I
be
think
the
it was
passer,
in the other
I
corner.
can be the shooter.
I
How
don't-
many times will it take me to hit a no-dip corner 3? 100 times? And I'm not a bad shooter, but that's a really hard shot.
Oh, you're not?
No.
What is not a bad shooter?
I mean, at this advanced age, the only skills I offer and pick up are a good outside shot and I'm a good passer. But I can't do it, and I will not do anything else. If you ask me to play any kind of defense or get rebounds, it's not going to happen.
You know what I'm good at? Fouling.
Hey, look, someone's got to play.
I will foul you like nobody's business.
Are we missing any subplots from this game that we should hit?
I don't think so, and I have to go anyway. So,
Brian Windhorst, Hoop Collective. You're going to preview every game on the Hoop Collective,
That's right.
so you're going to turn around real fast. And on
not that fast. It'll be
we
on.
got 2 days off, but Sunday there'll be.
Oh, there'll be not off days, but yes, that's right.
And you're going to be all over TV, all over the series. Great job as always. It's good seeing you.
Thanks for the compliments, and it is good to see you. How many years have we been doing this?
I don't know.
I mean, we did it. We did it.
Good answer. Good. That's a good podcast right there. I don't know.
We did it before the pandemic. Then during the pandemic, we still did it.
We had some guests.
Yeah, we had like Steve Clifford. He had like been fired by the Hornets. He was still wearing Hornets gear. It was because he knew he was going to go back.
Yeah.
Don't throw away your gear.
There's Drew Holiday. Good game for Drew Holiday. Just another quiet Drew Holiday game.
That's what he does.
Beat the hell out of P.J. Washington on one isolation. It's like, how does he bully these bigger guys? It's incredible. Okay, Brian Windhorst, you got to go.
All right, thank you.
Lowe Post Hoop Collective will be back in like 96 hours
Thank
or
you
something.
to
whenever
Jackson
game
and
2
Adi
is.
who are on site here.
And we got a whole setup here. We're on the parquet. It's nice.
I think it's on YouTube or something too. I don't know if it really is, but I think it is.
Good night.
Good night.
Godspeed.